Hello, everyone. This is take five of recording this meeting um, and sharing my screen. So I am learning about Zoom, and it's a journey, right? It's always a journey. So let's stay playful and enjoy this journey. The first thing I'd like to share with you is a card I pulled last night just before our class. And I'll show you the book called The Unveiling the Golden Age by Izzy Ivy. And there's some beautiful artwork. Just a gorgeous artist there. Um, and the card that I pulled is this sweet little creature. She's a muse. And it says, tickled. See if I can get it in the camera there. Tickled by the free spirit, the muse. So I'm just gonna uh, read you what Izzy has to say about this card. Mythical guardian, the muse. This card brings a playful reminder to have an open and curious mind. The energy of the muse is that of a free spirit, daring to jump and embrace the unknown, even if you don't feel completely equipped. This playful childlike archetype treats everything as an adventure. There's much growth and development. Rather than taking life so seriously, the muse inspires you to see it as an experiment. There is the energy of limitlessness and spontaneity. This card reminds you to relax and have fun, get out of your own way, and know that the universe has your back. And then the next part is called healthy awareness. Truthfully, sometimes we may need specific tools and resources as we venture out into uncharted territory. And sometimes the quickest place to learn is on our feet, like I'm doing now with Zoom and all this technology, boy. Open to miraculous opportunities and following our inner whispers. Put yourself where you feel you need to be. The universe will catch you. You create your reality by acting and feeling as if you already have what you seek. You are a vibrational match, so it can't help but manifest. And then there's a little note from Izzy here. I decided at the start of 2019 to experiment with this concept. This is how I got to be in all the weird and wonderful places across the globe. The perfect, inspiring, and generative playground in which to paint many of the images that make up this deck. They say magic happens outside of your comfort zone, and it never ceases to amaze me what is possible when you set yourself free. And here's a story behind the artwork. I painted this piece at a festival in Joshua Tree. I did not know anyone going, but I intuitively felt I was meant to be there. Somehow I managed to get myself out to the middle of the desert despite the curious journey there. Alongside some great connections and incredible synchronicities, I met someone quite pivotal who gifted me growth, and we were able to share many adventures. It was such a magical place. I set myself up beside the dance floor, and for 3 days, this otherworldly blue being wanted to come and dance and be a part of the fun. She harnessed the high vibe energy from the dance floor and reflected it to those who witnessed her come to life as a beacon of inspiration that shone into the night. This multidimensional being whispers to our soul when it is time for something new to be seeded. She reminds us to go for it, emanating her encouragement and downloading tools into our energy field that will help us on our journey. She inspires us to let go of fear, stand at the edge of a metaphorical rocky desert cliff, alight with radiant life force, and take flight into the unknown. Trust that the universe won't just catch you, it will be the wind beneath your wings. And I love that last part about standing at the edge of the rocky desert cliff because I had a vision in about 2020, which was about a year after Izzy created this deck. And my dad, who passed away in 2014, came to me in this vision in 2020, and he took my hand, and it looked like the Grand Canyon, which is in the desert. And we jumped, and it was very misty in the canyon. And so I didn't know what we were jumping into. And I felt this freedom. It was just incredible. And the message was very clear to just trust that the universe has you, and it's time to jump into the unknown. So very interesting that I pulled that card last night. So we're going to go through how you might create an altar. Uh, these are some ideas from me. Of course, you have your own ideas, and it's a really fun, meditative, beautiful practice, I find, especially for intention setting. And yeah, so let's just dive in. I'm going to share my screen here with you. Okay. Just hang on 1 second and I will get this up. There we go. Yay. I did it. Still learning about this technology. So I think it's pretty good size for you to see. All right. So um, what we need to bring to creating an altar, in my opinion, one of the most important things is our authenticity. And that's the who we really are inside, um, our true self, with all of our feelings and um, imperfections, although those are perfect too, I feel. It's all meant to be. But just bringing our real self um, when we create our altar. And if you can lead with your heart and come into your heart instead of being in your head about creating the altar, that is something um, that will really bring you the greatest messages from spirit, if that's what you're looking for. Building the altar could also be just a celebration. You might be celebrating something in your life, and that's wonderful too. Maybe it's the birth of a baby, or maybe you graduated from something, a course, or you just feel like you've come into more expansion. Could be seasons, it could be moon phases, all kinds of things to build an altar. And I like to invite my guides and my angels, my masters, my ancestors, I have a little pouch, a leather pouch. I'll show you a picture at the end of this beautiful altar that I made last September. And it has a pouch that my dad carried in his pocket, his pants pocket, all the time. And it had little stones, little crystals. So I like to put that on my altars. Um, yeah. And I feel like, our voice is a vibration. It's a really important vibration. It's who we are. And I like to state intentions out loud. And I like that magic number of 3 to state things out loud 3 times to bring the magic and to solidify our intentions. All right. So you might want to consider if you're creating or releasing with this altar that you're building. And um, so creation, you could be wanting to bring information in from your universe, God, spirit, creator, that force in the universe. Um, or you might want to have a release altar. So you may want to build it counterclockwise and make counterclockwise motions to release something. It could be something like judgment. Maybe you judge yourself. You've been judging yourself. You want to release that. Um, your self-esteem you feel is low. You want to build confidence. So you want to release that denser aspect of yourself that doesn't feel good enough. So there's 2 ways that you can build your altar. And these are some of the elements. Here, I'll just move myself out of the way. That you might want to use in your altar building. And I like to use all the earth elements. We have earth, air, fire, and water. And for earth, I like to put my herbs on my altar, of course. Plants are herbs. You can get a little bit of soil from your garden. You can get your favorite crystals out. Um, and then for air, you might want to use some feathers or a wind instrument. I have a flute. So sometimes I put my indigenous flute on my altar. You can use streamers, anything that you could use a pinwheel, anything that reminds you of the air or the wind. Um, and then there's water. I usually put a glass of water or photos of water or water oracle cards, um, something that is a depiction of water. And then for fire, I usually light a candle. I love to put lit incense on my altar. And then again, you can have photos of fire. You could put a dragon, like a little dragon figurine on your altar, or tarot cards or art that have pictures of fire on them. So when we build our altar, I love to connect with each object as I'm building the altar and and just feel what it feels like in my hand, before I place it on my altar. Um, so just feel its energy, and maybe it has some messages for you. And as you're placing it on your altar, you might feel a certain energy as you hold each object. And maybe there's a specific spot that the object wants to be placed on. So you can just ask your objects, because they're the objects and everything in our physical reality are an extension of our own self, our own consciousness. And so those are parts and pieces of our consciousness. And they may have messages for us. And maybe your ancestors are speaking through those objects, or your angels or something. This is where I really get going when I get into the sound and movement part of building an altar. This The sound and movement happens when I'm formulating, making skincare, or making an herbal, especially like if I make a tincture, or tea, uses water. So I often have um, like dancing spontaneously erupts, or a light language. Um, a song will come into my head, and I'll hum it, or a spontaneous song will come, and I'll sing that. Nobody's watching you doing this. Just do your thing and have some fun with this, because that joy vibration is a very expansive state, and the messages will come through so much more easily when we're in that state of joy and playfulness. Um, yeah, the dragons sometimes come through, and I speak dragon language. It's a very, um, I find, powerful in terms of I'm stepping into my power when the dragon um, language comes through me. And yeah, it's an interesting language. And you'll get maybe some insight from building your altar. Um, and this can come in the way of synchronicities, messages, however you get them, coins showing up, feathers in your path. Um, and if you like to journal, or your dreams. I've kept a dream journal for decades, and I find it very helpful. I don't usually interpret my dreams when I write them down. I just write them down, and then I'll go back and I'll look, or I'll think, oh, I already dreamed about that, or oh, that's really fitting into what's happening right now in my life, and then it makes more sense to me. I often find feathers. Of course, we live by a water uh, element here. There's a big pond, and the developer is wanting to build water elements for ducks and geese and all kinds of birds. So that's pretty cool out here, that I live somewhere where that it was an intention to help nature, help its beings, and build something in the neighborhood where people and water creatures and land creatures can be in connection, and um, be in harmony with one another. I have a friend who, when her grandma died, uh, dimes kept appearing in interesting places in her house and outside her house and in their garage. And yeah, she and her mom and her dad said, "Oh, that's got to be grandma." So that's something that might occur to you, might happen to you, I mean. Um, you can journal anything that comes up, anything um, if you think, there's a message, or maybe you do some automatic writing, just some flow writing, or just writing down anything that you feel is some insights um, after building your altar. And no expectations of when you will get the insight, because having the expectation, it kind of works as a negative. It kind of cancels out any insight. That's, to me, that's not how spirit works. Um, we need to be patient, and I feel we really have a knowing when there is a real insight that comes through, and we need to let it go. We have the desire, and then we need to let the desire. We need to send that intention out into the universe and have the desire in our heart, and then let that go and let spirit talk to us in its own time. Oh, I added a couple slides to this, so I am going to close that one. Sorry about that. And open uh, another one in here for you. That's not the right one. Like I said, those technical things, right? Ah, here we go. That's what I was looking for. Those extra slides that I added. So here's lovely catnip, one of our mints that we're setting this month. And this catnip is from my garden, the garden that I had last year. And look at those gorgeous blooms. They're conical, they're quite tall. They got really bushy. Catnip grows so easily. It doesn't mind whether there's a lot of water, no water. I had a catnip plant in the last house garden we had, and it was inside the greenhouse, and then it just grew inside the greenhouse, like wild. And I never watered it, um, and I didn't think it would survive, and like it just absolutely thrived. So catnip is really hardy. And I love to have the neighborhood cats come and sniff it and roll around. It's so sweet to have them come into my yard. Um, and catnip is sedative. For cats, it can be stimulating or sedating, and for humans, it's usually sedating. And so it's a really great herb to use for relaxation and for sleep. Um, I have it every night before bed in a tincture. And yeah, it really helps my sleep. Mints are cooling and drying, but I like catnip. I've tried passion flower for sleep, works really well, but oh my goodness, does it ever dry me out. So mints are drying, but they're not as drying as some of the other herbs. So on my altar, I put a little bit of catnip flowers, dried catnip flowers from my garden, and some spearmint from my other house garden. And I had a little sweetgrass basket, And I made that in a member's class. Like she taught us how to make these little sweetgrass baskets. She has some really beautiful ones. I made a tiny one and I'm so happy with it. And I use it on my altar a lot. I love when, you've made something yourself or it like it came from her teaching and that's really special. So yeah, I use some mint, nice sedating, relaxing plant for my altar. And this is an altar that I built, that I created last September. And I asked what was the next part, the next steps in my journey in life. I was feeling like, I don't know, my business was going to shift and I didn't really know how it was going to shift. So I asked for some guidance, used my dragon cards. I'm a dragon in the Chinese zodiac, and um, I'm a Scorpio in the Western astrology, and I'm a snake in the indigenous astrology. I like to work with my dragons. And I also, you can see the plants I used here. This is, there's three. There's white sage from one of our members, her garden. And then there's some lavender from another woman who's also taken my classes. And then there's sweetgrass from my garden. And I got that sweetgrass from the woman who grew the sage. So, yeah, very special items. Little uh, crow feather and some incense, candle. And there's my dad's little leather pouch with his little stones and crystals in it. And I love Himalayan salt. I love the glow that the lamps give, and I like to eat the salt too. I like the color. It's very pretty, kind of pinky orange. Oh, and this little organite crystal is, can I get it bigger for you? I've got it here. I'll show it to you. I'll just, there. So it's this sweet pyramid, and my friend made it. Organite is made with natural elements and manufactured elements. So there's some rose petals in it, and there's some spiral copper wires in it. There's some gold leaf, some silver, and of course this it's poured into a rosin. Um, or I mean, it's these are put into a mold. She makes them upside down like this. She puts the elements into a pyramid mold and then she pours the rosin over it and then it gets hard. But I just love this crystal. It's so beautiful. The colors don't show up really, really well here, but they're much more intense than what I can show on my screen here with my camera. So that's one of my really special crystals. We have, we're in the natural and manufactured world. That's what humans are in. So it's a nice balancing of energies in there. She uses it for electromagnetic field work. So yeah, it's a nice one. I like holding it. I like showing you what it looks like. It's really cool. Anyway, I trust that all of that information was really helpful for you. Uh, Wait, I'm going to stop sharing here the screen because maybe you didn't even see this, Crystal. You may have been looking at the slide, but you heard the description. And yeah, she makes them upside down, pours the rosin over them. So there's that sweet Crystal. I trust that you feel like all excited to build your own altars for celebration or intentions. And I didn't mention this, but maybe I will. Um, there's different cultures that have made altars, and there's medicine wheels and everything. And I feel that we have incarnated into all those different cultures. That's why we're in our consciousness ascension, our big consciousness ascension now. We are shifting into beautiful new creatures as humans, and it is a big, big shift that's happening. And I feel like the energy is such that you're not taking away from any culture. Yeah, we're doing our own thing now. Um, if we're building an altar, and that's how it's meant to be. We're meant to move into freedom and being our own authentic selves, and just moving into our own soul and bringing like integrating all of our aspects and having our soul right there where we can access information instantly from our soul and from source or God or creator or the universe or spirit. So yeah, I hope this is all very useful to you. And I was really excited to offer this class. And we will have another class next month about clover and how it's a wonderful um, kind of a cleanser for our body, a nice little spring tonic as we move into spring. So we'll do some fun things with clover. Until then, I will think about you fondly. I send you loving energy. Mm. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Have a wonderful day.